Australia is currently experiencing rapid demographic change as a result of mass immigration. Simultaneously, many of us feel as though Australian culture is being somewhat diluted as multiculturalism is pushed. Why do we insist on promoting multiculturalism when it so clearly hinders us from a unified national identity and culture?
Tarang.
It's a great question. I think that multiculturalism doesn't hinder us. I think that we also need to have a conversation about what we mean by multiculturalism. And that's to look at the dynamics of power and control and what diversity actually means. You know, we're seeing a push towards, say, for example, closing the gender pay gap and disparities in gender or other parts of diversity. You know, migrants who are coming to Australia and taking on entry-level positions, then working their way up. But they face often a ceiling. They can only advance so far. And I think one of the things that we have to look at in terms of what multiculturalism means in the Australian context is who has decision-making power, where is the power vested, and who makes the decisions that then impact everybody. If we look at the composition of Parliament, for example, there are so few women in positions of decision-making power. If we look at the context of Parliament, and I hear Nova's response before, those aspects of motherhood that are common, that are natural, that are biological, that our workplaces where decisions are made have not kept up with the fact that if we don't change the way we're doing things, if we don't advance a nuanced understanding of diversity and multiculturalism and inclusion, that we'll actually not be getting the best results for our nation.
Marlene, can I bring you in here though? Because it's not a new argument. We have heard people say many times before that if we're so focused on each individual identity or each grouping's identity, it's harder to have a broader national identity.
Yeah.
You must have heard those arguments before.
Hearing that question, it, to me, relies on a secure, stable and established Australian identity to begin with, and I just don't think we've ever had that. I think there's fragments of identity of what it means to be an Australian that have been derived from the Anzac spirit. You know, if you ask, admittedly, most of the time, if you ask the average white Australian, what it means to be an Australian, they'll talk about mateship and larrikinism and that stuff that comes from World War I, but we have changed so much. And I think that because of the systemic racism that we've been talking about that still exists and the unwelcomeness that migrant communities feel or all these fragments within society as well, we've never been able to talk about what we mean as a collective in the first place.
But if we're going to find a way forward, do we need to address that component of it though? That so clearly many Australians do feel, a sense of loss if we're somehow changing what we commonly share. Yeah,
I think that it's really complex because I don't think you're going to please everyone ever. I don't think in any context you kind of get that. But I think it comes back to, we talk a lot, particularly in the Aboriginal community, about truth-telling and honesty. And I think also not just about making sure that everyone has equality, but equity as well. When we can get to a level playing field and the average Australian, no matter what their cultural background is or whether they were even born here or any kinds of things like that as part of their context, hinders their ability to reach opportunities and grow and be in Parliament and be in positions of power. When we can actually all be on an equal playing field, then we can talk about that collectivism. So,
Limo, can you see a way forward? Can you see unifying features?
I don't think we're diluting the culture. I think a better way to express it is to say that the identity is, the culture/identity is evolving. And as a multicultural society, I believe the multiculturalism makes us stronger as a country. And I think our identity is evolving. And it started out with those ideas of mateship and resilience and egalitarianism. But it would be nice to have something, some sort of ballast in our identity. And you think about things that are uniquely Australian. What is unique to this country? And as far as I can tell, I can only think of three things that are uniquely Australian. Happy to be corrected online. I'm sure people will.
Welcome to Q&A.
Yeah. But three things, as far as I can tell, are uniquely Australian. Our flora and fauna, 1. Indigenous culture, 2. And Aussie rules football, 3. Okay? Now, so people in New South Wales and Queensland don't turn off. Let's forget about Aussie rules football for the moment. But I think it would be nice if our national identity was built around our flora and fauna and our Indigenous culture. And if you look to New Zealand, the Maori culture is at the heart of the Kiwi identity, and wouldn't it be nice if Indigenous culture was at the heart of the Australian identity?